Hello, all. Welcome to the world of our lovely lifestyle. Today, I bring you yet another training module on facilitation skills. Through this session, you will learn how to be a great facilitator, how to engage audience, and deliver the sessions. We will also focus on the difference between a trainer and a facilitator, how to engage audience and deliver impactful sessions. As an extra tip, stay with me till the end to learn on what can go wrong as a facilitator and how to overcome the obstacles. Facilitation is about an act of assisting or making the progress easier or improving of something. In our context, let's assume you want to facilitate a training module within your organization. Your role as a facilitator is to stimulate a deeper understanding, initiate fresh thinking, and bring about behavioral transformation. There arises a question about trainers and facilitators in the context of learning and development when it comes to soft skills. They seem to be performing similar tasks. Then, what is the difference? Let us understand the difference between a trainer and a facilitator. Facilitator is a very recent terminology in the corporate world. Training has been in existence for several decades. Training isn't bad as many try to compare it. I personally think there are common skills, behaviors, and beliefs both roles share. First, let's talk about training. Trainers deliver information, share their knowledge, which essentially makes the trainer and subject matter expert. A model the trainer usually uses is to direct, tell, and inform the audience. Whereas about the facilitator creates a learning environment which allows the group to share knowledge with each other. A facilitator is not expected to be a subject matter expert. Facilitator usually uses the model of listen, question, and coach. I found a suggestion which goes about saying a trainer brings the participants from unknown to known. A facilitator brings the participants from known to unknown. This resonated with me a lot. If you are looking to shift from training to facilitation, maybe think about what you already do as a trainer. Think about how you can transfer these skills into new settings as a facilitator. Let's move on and understand what are the few skills that are required to be a successful facilitator. First is the purpose. You have to be very clear why are you bringing people together? What is your topic of facilitation and what is the outcome you would like to achieve? So as to summarize, the purpose that becomes the guiding post. From the purpose arises the question of do you have the right audience and how would you engage them? Once you have the sorted, the next step is active listening. The session becomes effective only when participants feel heard. As a facilitator, when you hear through the said and unsaid, through body language or facial expressions, you will be able to navigate your sessions effectively. The second most important skill is inclusivity. A common misconception about being inclusive means involving everyone all the time. However, as the Art of Gathering author Priya Parker mentions, optimal inclusion sometimes requires deliberate exclusion. This doesn't mean permanently sidelining certain audience, but rather knowing when and where to involve them is most beneficial. To create an environment of inclusion, empathy to the audience, their thought process and collective journey is most important. The third skill is timekeeping. Sounds simple, right? But believe me, it's not. Timekeeping is not about setting up a timer on each slide. It's managing the entire session through deliberate planning, designing each phase of the facilitation. Certain times, when the audience find the session very interesting, they can start sharing a lot of their stories, personal experiences, and even start asking a series of questions. As a facilitator, you should be able to keep up the time by saying, such as, hey, we have time for one last question. Hold your thoughts. I'm going to cover the topic in detail. If not answered, we shall come back to it. Balance the enthusiasm of the audience, but still keep them engaged and not make them feel cut off. Well, some of these traits can help you deliver sessions effectively. Let's talk about yet another important skill, the conflict management. Imagine your room is full of intellectual audience and you are in the pursuit of creating a learning environment. Imagine if your audience have conflicting views about the topic you are facilitating. Not every conflict needs to be resolved. As a facilitator, acknowledge that there are different views and move on. So, the journey of a facilitator may be challenging, but the rewards are immense. By cultivating some of these qualities, you will not only become an experienced facilitator, but also a stronger leader capable of inspiring, guiding, and empowering your team towards achieving common goals. Let's move to how to have an engagement with the audience. I'll discuss with you few engagement tips today. Imagine a 8-hour session or half a day session. How about if you have to do a virtual facilitation to remote audience? So how do you engage your audience, right? Preparation is the key. Prepare activities through before the session. First one, gamify certain learning concepts. Gamification is a proven technique which ensures learning is captured and retained for a long term. Gamification ideas could be like a treasure hunt. Make your session a dialogue between the participants so as to provide each participant an opportunity to share their view. Physical sessions or virtual breakout rooms with small number of audience is very apt for creating dialogues. The third important way of engaging audience is about storytelling. Think about a time when someone shared a story with you. How did you feel about it? As we all know, globally every culture has a practice of sharing important information through stories. As a facilitator, share your personal stories which can appeal to the audience, or share stories that are culturally neutral. The other way of engaging the audience is relevance. The top one reason for audience to lose interest is if they are not able to relate or find a relevance in the examples or stories that the facilitator is sharing. So very important, make sure your audience are able to relate the concepts to something that they are undergoing personally. The last tip for engagement would be, it's very important as a facilitator to be sensitive to the group's learning styles. As we all know, there are four different types of learning: visual, auditory, kinesthetic, and reading writing. Based on the four types, it's necessary you use and adapt a set of visual aids, speech, activities, etc. To have an engaging audience, it's very important that you take care of all the above discussed engagement tips. Okay, now that we know how to engage the audience, let's see how to do certain delivery impactful sessions. A clear, concise delivery is the need. With that, it's also important that you set the context for the session so that everyone moves along the agenda or the purpose of the session. At the very beginning, create a welcoming space for all the audience by encouraging them to share something about themselves or their achievements. One of the challenges a facilitator sometimes faces is sudden silence from the audience. It might originate due to several reasons, such as an emotional charge up or the topic being irrelevant. It's okay to have silence. Silence is fine sometimes. It's a very good filler and provides a segue to the next topic. I have iterated the importance of timekeeping and I'll continue to do so for the rest of the session. It's very important that you plan your session with detailed design, keeping the time and pace in mind. This helps you to balance a session so that you are neither rushing through or spending excess time on a particular topic. One another tip for delivering a facilitation effectively is to encourage a lot of participation open-ended questions by asking them to share their personal stories or any recent relevant experience. Some of the tools you can use, such as poll, chat window, or breakout rooms, or some websites like menti.com to create an engaging environment, will definitely help you to deliver best of the sessions. So far, we learned that our session's purpose is the guiding post. Time management is the key to the success, and we also looked at some tips on delivering and engaging the audience through several techniques. Coming to the point of what could go wrong. So, this is a special tip as I promised at the beginning of the session. Think about a time. Have you ever faced a situation where your plan is completely jeopardized? As a good facilitator, it's important also to be prepared for unforeseen issues that one can face. Few things that could go wrong is technology shortcomings such as no audio, no visuals, or no internet, or unable to share. During such times, have a backup plan and be prepared to connect with the audience with some alternate. Share the content over email or postpone the session or have someone reach out to the audience on your behalf. The second one would be time management. I've touched upon this topic several times, and I am sure by now you get the idea how important it is to manage time on a time bound sessions. The third tip would be another surprise that facilitator can face is a sudden non participation. Reason could be anything about emotional charges or lose interest or something just happened in between. As a facilitator, have plans to overcome these situations. Ask open-ended question, maybe focus on certain participants, introduce a lighter moment, initiate a small activity. Create a non-risk environment, a very safe environment, and do a quick check if you are using the right learning style that we discussed in our previous chapters. In conclusion, to be as successful as a facilitator, it's important to keep three takeaways in mind. One, always have a purpose and set the context for the topic of facilitation. Two, throughout the session, make sure you are engaging the participants, providing them with tools, giving them techniques to take away, which they can implement in their day to day activities. Third, last but not the least, boost the session provided with assessments. Arrange for post training follow up sessions. If anyone has some doubts, that they can always come back to you to clear their doubts. Provide them with more social learning materials which they can refer to. To become a great facilitator, practice, practice, and practice. With that, thanks for staying with me till the end of the session. See you in my upcoming training videos.